boy merely glanced at the moon, only to see a massive angel. Under the angel's gaze, a searing pain shot through his eyes, and in that instant, he went blind. From that day on, people said he'd gone insane, and sent him to a cold, sterile asylum. He kept telling everyone about the angel he'd seen, but the doctors called it nothing more than a severe hallucination. After endless torment and disbelief, he finally gave in, and abandoned the real world he once believed in. Years passed, he seemed to have recovered, living once again like an ordinary man. One day, a little girl tried to help Lin Chia cross the street, but instead, he calmly guided her across. Because of that, people saw the blind young man as strange, just another odd topic for neighborhood gossip. Though his eyes were long gone, he seemed to possess an extraordinary sense of perception, dodging flying objects with impossible precision. Orphaned since childhood, he'd been raised by his aunt, a modest, peaceful life despite their poverty. Still, he was required to undergo regular mental evaluations. Today, a new doctor came to see him. Lin Chia didn't think much of it, until the doctor's first question caught him off guard. "Do you believe there is a god in this world?" The doctor went on to explain. A century ago, a strange fog appeared over Antarctica. Every nation swallowed by the mist was wiped out, but the fog stopped abruptly at China's border. The story unsettled Lin Chia. He couldn't shake the feeling that it was somehow connected to the angel he saw as a child. He often dreamed of a mental hospital shrouded in mist. He was sure that the key to that mystery lay hidden there. Yet no matter what he did, he could never open that door. One evening, as Lin Chia and his companion were walking home, a foul, rotting stench filled the air. Moments later, a grotesque creature emerged from the darkness. In the chaos, Lin Chia was knocked to the ground. As the monster lunged toward the girl ahead, acting on instinct, he threw himself in front of her, but the creature's overwhelming strength forced him to flee for his life. Just when he thought he'd escaped, another monster appeared. Trapped between the two, he decided there was no choice but to fight. The monster's attacks came in relentless waves. Lin Chia's body tensed, every nerve burning with effort just to survive one more second. Then, one of the monster's claws tore away the blindfold from his eyes. In that instant, a burst of brilliant golden light exploded from his gaze. He struck the creature square in the abdomen, and at that moment, the asylum from his dreams appeared before him. The door he could never open finally began to tremble. At that critical moment, it was as if a divine power took hold of him. Golden radiance poured from his eyes, blasting every monster away in a single flash. Because Lin Chia was no ordinary man. He was the earthly vessel of the Archangel Michael. Have you ever seen a shooting trick this cool? Popeye flicked a switch and fired his gun, then pulled off a daring shoot the apple stunt. With another pistol, across the range, Bluto wasn't about to be outdone. He tossed an egg into the air, snatched up a mirror, and used the reflection to aim. Bang! The bullet struck midair, and the egg yolk burst open, hatching a tiny chick right there in flight. Just then, a wild horse was kicked into the arena. Popeye didn't hesitate. He popped open a can of spinach, gulped it down, and within seconds, pure cowboy energy surged through him. He tamed the furious horse with ease, then pulled off a gravity-defying jump that left the crowd stunned. But seeing the leftover spinach, Bluto's eyes glinted with mischief. He poured it out, stuffed the can with weeds, and told Popeye there was a bull that needed breaking. Without a doubt or a second thought, Popeye downed the spinach. But within moments, his brain started spinning, like an engine running on the wrong fuel. The raging bull charged from its pen, and Popeye, in his daze, mistook it for a beautiful lady. He grabbed its hoof and started dancing, twirling gracefully in the dust. Bluto laughed so hard he nearly fell over, until the bull lowered its head, snorted, and launched Popeye sky high. The fake spinach flew out of Popeye's mouth, and straight into Bluto's. Instantly, he began hallucinating, seeing Olive Oyl as a little calf, and trying to tie her up for branding. At that exact moment, Popeye snapped back to his senses. He reached for a real can of spinach, cracked it open, and swallowed it whole. The power surged through his arms. With a single punch, he turned the raging bull into neat rows of steaks and sausages, hanging perfectly on the rack. Then Popeye stormed toward Bluto, launched himself into the air, and landed a mighty uppercut. That sent Bluto flying into the sky. Not done yet, he grabbed the branding iron, and, while chasing him midair, stamped Bluto's backside with sizzling marks, until the brute howled in pain, and plunged headfirst into a water barrel, flashing and shrieking like a boiled lobster. This is the strongest man in the world, his anger anymore, and challenges Bluto on the spot. But Bluto doesn't take it seriously. He simply pushes his belly forward, and flattens Popeye into a human pancake. Seeing this, Olive claps her hands in excitement. Watching his girlfriend cheer for his opponent, Popeye trembles with anger, and decides to show his true power. Facing a group of charging lions, he swings his fists, knocking them all down within a few punches. He even throws one lion into a basketball hoop. Olive cheers loudly, and even blows a kiss to Popeye. Seeing this, Bluto becomes furious. The limits of emotion. The man danced over the blazing lava. However, as the flames rose higher and higher, he was about to be swallowed by the lava. In despair, the man could only throw his insect friend to a safe place, and prepare himself for his final dance. At that moment, the yellow bug suddenly came up with an idea. Right after that, a coconut fell from above and hit the man on the head. It turned out that his friends were desperately throwing coconuts into the lava. The man carefully jumped forward, stepping on the coconuts one by one, but the coconuts behind him were quickly consumed by the lava. Just as he was about to succeed, one of the coconuts suddenly exploded, and he was thrown backward. At the critical moment, a robot flew over and caught him in its arms. The man was so frightened that he fainted on the spot. Meanwhile, the lava was rapidly approaching. The yellow bug tried his best to push the raft, but it was no use. Just then, the red bug found a mushroom. It suddenly remembered that every time it ate a mushroom, it couldn't help but fart, so it immediately picked a mushroom and stuffed it into the man's mouth. The man was forced to swallow a few bites, and the power of the mushroom began to take effect. He suddenly opened his eyes and released a huge burst of air. The raft shot out like a rocket, and they finally escaped the danger. The next morning, moved by the fact that they had survived, they couldn't help but shed tears. However, the sky suddenly darkened. Heavy rain poured down, and a new crisis arrived once again. Do you know how tough Popeye's skin is? Even if a steel pipe hits him, it only leaves a faint outline mark. Not long ago, Bluto got bored of practicing his kicks and decided to check on what Popeye was doing. By chance, he overheard Olive saying to Popeye, "Go punch the sandbag and get some exercise." Bluto immediately snuck over, emptied all the sand out of the bag, and filled it with heavy iron blocks instead. Unaware of the trick, Popeye walked up and threw a punch, but the sandbag didn't move at all. He got angry, twisted his arms, and used all his strength. Bang! The sandbag flew into the air and crashed right into Bluto, who was spying nearby. That punch completely ignited Bluto's fury. While Popeye was strength training, Bluto showed up again. This time, he hooked a chain onto Popeye's equipment and tried to pull it using his motorcycle, but he still underestimated Popeye's power. In the blink of an eye, Bluto was thrown off and slammed hard onto the ground. Just as the chaos settled, the real showdown was about to begin. Olive drove Popeye to the competition venue, but Bluto had already poured gasoline all over the road. Popeye sped through the flames, and fortunately, Olive reacted quickly and saved him at the last second. But Bluto wasn't finished yet. He dug holes and filled them with wet cement along the road. This time, Popeye accidentally fell in, and Olive didn't notice. He had no choice but to carry a heavy block of cement and keep running. By the time they finally reached the arena, Popeye was already exhausted, but Olive still insisted that he get on stage. Sure enough, Bluto started the match with a fierce attack, but Popeye's tough skin didn't even flinch. Just as the referee began the countdown, Olive rushed onto the stage and stuffed a can of spinach into Popeye's mouth. Popeye took a bite. His muscles instantly bulged, and his pipe began to blow steam. From that moment on, enraged, the mouse decided to take revenge and went after the two worms. The insects quickly climbed up a tall water pipe to escape. Just when they thought they were safe, this is a way of chopping wood you've never seen before. Popeye tosses a log high into the air, then throws a powerful punch, and the shattered wood pieces fall neatly into a perfect pile. Just then, Olive Oyl arrives on the scene. She immediately catches the attention of two men. Popeye hurries over to talk to her, but Bluto refuses to back down. He swings his axe and nails Popeye right to a tree. Seeing Bluto take the lead, Popeye rushes after him, only to end up being forced into doing hard labor for free. Just as Bluto is about to cause trouble, Popeye bursts in. Enraged, Bluto grabs a funnel and gives Popeye a ridiculous new haircut. The two start brawling immediately. Fortunately, Olive steps in just in time to stop them. She announces that she needs firewood right now, and whoever can chop the most wood for her, she'll marry. Hearing this, Popeye dashes off right away, and Bluto charges after him. As Popeye swings his axe to chop, Bluto sneaks up from behind and starts cutting wood first. Popeye watches with disdain, then casually picks up a log and tosses it into the air. In the next moment, it splits perfectly into even pieces, stacking neatly in his hands. He carefully places the firewood into the stove, but Bluto secretly pours gasoline down the chimney. When Olive strikes a match, boom, the stove explodes instantly. Taking advantage of the chaos, Bluto tricks Olive into getting on a small boat. As he rows away, he strums on a saw blade, producing an awful screech. The noise angers a nearby squirrel, which gnaws through the boat with its sharp teeth. Olive stares at the rushing river and the broken boat, screaming for help in terror. Hearing her cry, Popeye kicks up a log from the shore and rides it across the water to the rescue. In the end, both men reach her at almost the same time. Even in the face of danger, neither of them is willing to back down, and as a result, the one who ends up getting hurt is the innocent Olive Oyl.